Hey everybody, this video is about writing project 1. We will go over the prompt, the rubric, and I'll try and run over briefly the rationale for this project, why it fits, where it fits within the schedule, and how it folds into further projects. So this is our first big project, right? And I chose to do a digital artifact analysis that combines genre and rhetorical situation because, you guessed it, we've been focusing on rhetorical situations and genres as they apply to online writing platforms. Before going over the prompt, I want to take a quick look at our guiding questions. Okay, so our Unit 1 guiding questions are as followed. How do different social networking sites equip users with different sets of affordances, constraints, exigencies, and audiences that promote different composing practices? How do different users employ pathos, logos, and ethos in constructing an SNS profile, composing messages on one, and/or responding to others? And what might we identify as the various composing aims on each social networking site? And how do users employ rhetoric to meet these aims? So as we've gone through various homework assignments and free writes and discussion boards, we've been paying attention to how rhetorical situations, how Aristotelian appeals, and how a Burkean concept of composing aims work on social networking sites and other online writing platforms. So it makes a lot of sense that for our culminating writing project, I'm essentially asking you to apply all of these things to one specific artifact. And so as you consider what artifact you want to look into, I want to remind you that this Unit 1 writing project is meant to be scaffolded into your second writing project. And what that means is your first writing project, you will identify a specific artifact, right? Let's say a sarcastic retweet from an individual user. And this would be your individual artifact that you would analyze in the ways that we will go over in just a second. Well, your second unit will ask you to conduct research on the larger space within whatever your artifact was originally contained in. So if you were to do a sarcastic retweet from a user, your second project would look into that user's larger account and make a certain argument about what that account is doing and what it's made for. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can approach writing project 2, but what's important to remember for writing project 1 is that you can and should pick something that you know you would want to look more into in the future, right? So if you're interested in creating your own mommy blog, for example, then you would want to look at an artifact that is a mommy blog artifact, right? A post from a mommy blog. And that way you could go ahead and do a lot of research on mommy blogs that will come into writing project 2 when you have to situate not an artifact, but a space within the larger entire existence of the internet, right? So again, I just want to emphasize before going into the actual specifics of writing project 1, that you can and should pick something that you're interested in doing further research on, because you will be asked to do that. And with that said, you're allowed to bail on this topic once writing project 2 comes about, so don't feel too constrained. It's okay if you do that sarcastic retweet and think, you know what, I want to do something totally different for writing project 2. But if you do think ahead in that way, this can serve you well. Okay, so writing project 1. Okay, I had to do a little editing to fix the language, but now that I'm back, writing project 1, the purpose of the project is twofold. First, you're going to establish your own working definition of genre based upon the readings from class, as well as any outside sources that you deem important to your definition. Then you're going to select one digital artifact, and the options are endless here, which you will analyze through the lens of the genre you have chosen and the rhetorical situation as you see it occurring. This analysis should focus on the conventions of the genre of your artifact, a sarcastic retweet, for example, the rhetorical situation of your specific example case, and how its content and form serve its purpose of composing. Now here, I want to break that down a little bit. So essentially, you're going to use Lloyd Bitzer's rhetorical situation terminology in order to break down your artifact. So I want you to use speaker, audience, constraints, affordances, exigence when breaking down this source. In the past, students have asked, okay, you want me to do those things, but do you want me to use those terms, or do I have to use those terms? And the answer is yes. I do want you using those terms to demonstrate your awareness and understanding of how the rhetorical situation works. Think about things like, who are the speakers and audiences of your specific artifact and of that genre in general? What are constraints and affordances that your genre affords to the composer? What's the exigence that the composer in your artifact is responding to? And what kinds of exigencies are usually responded to within this genre? Here I'm trying to show you how you can sort of think about your specific artifact within a larger context, right? Within the larger genre. You then want to identify your purpose of composing, or their purpose of composing. Was it to inform their audience, to persuade outsiders, to motivate subscribers, to identify with members? Is it some combination of a variety of things? It's up to you to define and articulate what you see going on in terms of a purpose of composing. Next, you'll identify the genre according to the form and content guidelines that we've gone over and explored in our coursework. What is the content's purpose? What form and platform does it take? And how does the content and platform work together? So for example, if it's a short message on Twitter, that's a very good pairing, right? Short, quick messages within Twitter work because Twitter is, in terms of a space, set up for those types of things. You can use Aristotelian appeals, but you don't have to. The reason for that is, even though we go over those in the class, I don't want you to feel like you have to juggle too many things. I think the purpose of composing folds well with genre and rhetorical situation, so I don't require the Aristotelian appeals, but if you like them and find them helpful for breaking things down, then go right ahead. You can include up to 4 sources, but you don't have to. Source work is much more important in Project 2. Some examples of artifacts could be tweets, retweets, Snapchats, stories, Facebook activities, Instagram posts, Reddit threads, blog posts, even online articles, YouTube videos, right? I keep it as wide as possible so you can dive into the spaces that you're interested in researching and composing. 2 options. Most people do the first option here, 250 to 350 word proposal, followed by a 1,000-word essay, and then another reflection that's 250 to 300 words. But I also offer a multimodal version in which you could create some type of video, or really any kind of multimodal project that you're interested in. Just talk to me about it beforehand, and I'm actually very interested in those types of projects. So feel free to do that, but understand that you'll still have expectations as high as anyone else. Experimenting with form for this project doesn't mean that you will be graded any more leniently. And then I include this rubric here, really just breaking down the assignment as we already sort of know it to be. 25% I say for clarity of overall stance. And that's not the strength of your argument, right? But really the ability to clearly articulate your argument based on your rhetorical analysis. Those are very similar things, but I just want you to note that I'm not interested in sort of debating with you. I'm much more, or even making sure, your logic is perfectly sound. I'm much more interested in your ability to articulate sort of what you see going on, how you see that going on, why you see that going on, right? So I think too often we emphasize argument, and while you are making an argument here, more important than the argument is sort of the backing and reasoning of why you came to the conclusions that you did. So even if it's like my football coach used to say, if you're going to mess up big, right? So don't be afraid to argue what you want to argue, but instead focus on doing it to the best of your ability and really going for it. Next 25% is rhetorical situation. This is really, really important. You need to be thinking through our entire course through the rhetorical situation. That's the framework that we're using. 20% of it would be purpose of composing, right? And that's that idea of to misinform, to persuade, to make critical commentary, right? There's a variety of purposes for composing, and it's your job to articulate sort of what you see the individual's aim of composing and why. Then I threw 15% for genre. That's that articulation of how your chosen artifact uses the platform it uses and the content it uses to create a certain specific thing, right? So it's not enough to say something is a sarcastic tweet. You would need to explain what within the content marks it as sarcastic, right? And then 15% is the nitty-gritty, the grammar, the formatting, sentence structure, citations. I fold that all into one because I'm really much more interested in your critical thinking, but it's still 15%. So, you know, if you have poor citations, if the grammar and the sentence structure interfere to a point where I can't really understand what's going on or follow your argument well, then you will be knocked off for that. Feel free to email me with any questions about the project. And as always, I look forward to learning from you guys. Thanks. Bye.